SLX, SLX DC. Which one should you be using? Let's find out.
The SLX 151 HG. This is the left-hand retrieve version of the reel. It is in a 7-to-1 gear ratio, and I've been using it for about 6 months now. The SLX DC 151 HG, also left-hand retrieve, also 7-to-1 gear ratio. I bought this one probably about a month ago now, and I've gotten quite a bit of use out of it already.
I'm gonna take both of these reels out into the field with me. I'm gonna have them on similar rods, I'm gonna have them with very similar line, and I'm gonna have them with identical lures. And we're gonna throw them around, and we're gonna see which one's more consistent, which one performs better, and which one is better for birds nesting, which one's better for just everyday casting, etc. I'm gonna try and test everything that I think about when I'm trying to find a good reel that I wanna use, and I'm gonna give you my opinion. I'm not gonna tell you for fact what everything is, but I'm gonna tell you what I think about it, and I'm gonna tell you what you can expect when you go ahead and buy one. So stay tuned.
All right, so each pole's gonna have the same frog. They're the same design, same weight, different colors. We're going to try and launch each of these on different poles and see which pole can consistently cast farther. So let's go ahead and we'll tie this one on first. Yellow is going on the regular SLX. Always make sure that you wet these and then pull them nice and tight. There's that pole ready to go. And then the DC will get this same version of frog, different pattern, different color. Here we go with the first distance casting test, SLX versus SLX DC. We're going for nice and smooth with distance. I'm gonna try out the regular SLX. This is the 151 HG. It is, I don't know if you can see that. It is a 7.2 gear ratio. We're just gonna see how far out we can get it. All right, we're aiming for that back corner. It's pretty good. I'm gonna set the pole down. We're gonna try and launch the one with the DC. Same weight of frog, same line. I mean, pretty much identical. So I'm just trying to blow that up right there. Come back for it. Here, we'll try and reel in the other one. Skeeters are out in full force. All right, let's do that again. Ready? Right there. DC. I mean, that got more distance and was a very similar cast. All right. Since we're kind of cornered there, let's do an even better test. We will go however far we can go that way. Not bad. I mean, it went farther.
You'll hear a lot of people online talk about how the SLX is better than the SLX DC simply because the DC braking stops them from being able to cast as far. That has not been my experience.
The DC is going farther, but not by enough to say that it's like the definitive, it's going to cast farther. Let's get you guys a different angle here. And I'll make sure when I'm recording this that I go back and I can see whether or not I'm being a biased little punk. We'll do the regular SLX as far as I can go to that corner. That was just straight up and down. Same thing with the DC. I mean, it's just a little bit farther every single time. Mind you, this DC reel isn't much newer than that reel. That reel's not gunked up, it's not heavily used. I've had it for maybe a couple months. This one I've had for a couple weeks. So it's really not that big of a difference. I'll tell you what though, I really like the whine because I'm a big Corrado DC guy and that whine just feels natural. But we're not judging it on whether or not it can whine. Now as far as personal preference goes though, I like it when they make a little noise. However, it is kind of nice, the smooth reeling. You know what, here, we'll do sidearm. There you go. I know exactly which pad that hit out there. Sidearm this one. I mean, about the same, honestly. That was like dead on the same. The DC is just getting a little bit more distance every time. I promise you there's no preference here. I'm not launching one harder than the other.
The DC in SLX DC stands for digital control. It's a system that adjusts the brakes of the reel thousands of times per second to try to match spool speed with the line release. These reels don't need any kind of battery or any kind of external power, as the power it uses is generated by the spool's rotation itself, hence why you hear the infamous whining sound, which is one of my favorite things about casting a DC reel.
And I mean, if you really want to get into, oh, they look like they're different sizes, though, prongs. I mean, they're not. And if anything, if you go back and look at that side-by-side comparison, this one might look a little smaller. But it's just the pattern. It's just your eyes deceiving you. Now, I can give a slight advantage to this. They're both on St. Croix poles. This one is on a medium heavy power Mojo Bass. This one is on a 7-foot medium heavy power fast action Triumph. And if we're being honest, I think I like this pull better. Is the extra 1 inch giving the DC reel the extra little bit of oomph? Could be. But I'm not gonna go through the trouble of switching them. I will just tell you from experience that I feel like I like this one better.
All right, hard transition here, and I know that this is a little off of what we were doing, but I got a new bass boat between days here, and I wanted to take it out, but I remembered I needed to continue filming a little bit for this SLX versus SLX DC video. So I did a little bit more cast testing, and I did a bird's nest comparison where I just kind of let it go and I didn't thumb it at all, and we'll see how it went.
Finally got the break-in done. First 2 hours at least. Now we're gonna try a little topwater with the SLX and the SLX DC. Don't know what it is, but I feel like with the SLX, it's just not, it doesn't feel right. It's not as smooth. I think it's probably because I'm used to casting with a Corrado. So to me, it doesn't feel right because there's no little wee sound. God, it's a beautiful evening. All right, you ready for a test that I'm not excited for? We are gonna test the SLX, the non-DC traditional version. I'm going to cast it, and I'm not going to thumb it, and we're gonna see what happens. Oof, not bad, really, it's not. There's a small bird's nest here, nothing crazy. And just like that, we're good. Is that gonna be your result every time? No. In fact, let's try again. Honestly, not too bad. About what I'd expect, honestly. All right, that one was a little more involved just because it unwound itself pretty good. Just make sure that when you're reeling this back up that you hold it tight, because if you don't hold it tight, you're just gonna get even worse bird's nests. All right, now we're gonna try something crazy. I'm gonna try and skip it without thumbing and see what happens. Something tells me it's not gonna be very fun. All right, I thumbed it. That was just reaction. That's, you know to thumb it when something like that happens, when you let go of a cast too late or too soon, and you know it's about to hit something. So this is a much more substantial bird's nest, but I'll show you a couple tricks to take care of them here. Just pull until you hit a knot. And, you know, if you're lucky, you won't hit a knot at all. Sometimes that happens. Right there, I hit a knot. Oh, nope, it just came undone on its own. If you take your time and you're gentle with these, they just come out. What sucks is when you're trying to fish and you get a bird's nest as you know there's a fish somewhere. So you're targeting something, you're really trying to get to it, and you can't because you have a bird's nest. There we go, just like that, we are fixed. This one, there's a lot of line let out, and then there we go. But I'll tell you something, in my experience, even if you're using a DC reel, it's still gonna do the same thing. But we'll throw the DC reel for a little bit and I'll show you. All right, now we'll try it with the SLX DC. Cast around for a while like we have been, and then I'll try and bird's nest this as well. I don't know a good way to explain this, but that just felt right. I don't know if it's the wine, I don't know if it's just me being ridiculous, but that felt right. All right, now let's try to bird's nest this. I'm not gonna thumb it at all. I'm just gonna do a normal cast. There you go, it stopped itself, but there's a little bit spooled up there. It's not perfect, it's not foolproof. I mean, honestly, that was just about as much as the normal reel. All right, now we'll try and skip it, just like we did before. Same result. I mean, that's a pretty substantial bird's nest, and I didn't even skip it that hard. Let's pull this one out nice and easy. Maybe we'll get this one stuck so I can show you what to do. And we did, look at that. So right now if I pull on this, I'm just gonna make this knot tighter. Instead of sitting here and picking it out, I watched a video a long time ago that taught me just push your thumb down, put quite a bit of pressure there, make sure your drag's basically off, and then just pull. And hit the button, start pulling again. And it'll work out most knots. It won't do all of them. You know, you're still gonna have your times where you're sitting there picking them out, and that's no fun, but everybody goes through it. A lot of times you'll feel like you're done, but you're not, because look, there's still this. It might not look, okay, well it popped up, but it didn't look that bad, but now it does. You wanna be able to pull it out and nothing be spooled up funny. All right, and then make sure, I always do this, that you're not catching your line on a bunch of stuff when you're reeling it back in. Like I have my line around the trolling motor right now. I have no idea how I got turned around like that, but okay. It wasn't too bad. I ripped that thing so hard that I unwound some of my line. I did make the mistake on this reel, and I'll admit it, of putting a little bit too much line on there. That was the SLX DC.
All right, final verdict here. Both reels are awesome. You know, if you have $99 and you're trying to buy a reel, the SLX it's gonna be fine. It's fine to learn on, it's fine to use every day, it's a good reel. If you have the extra money and you wanna buy the DC, you like the little wee sound like I do, and you just enjoy that, go ahead and buy it, because you're also not gonna go wrong with that. Out of the two, performance-wise, I like the DC better. Now I'm biased because I just prefer DC reels in general, but I think I proved it. You know, I think that in the field, the DC performed just a little bit better. But the SLX on its own, without the digital chip component, did just fine. There was no negative thing about not having the DC chip. It just didn't feel as clean to me. So if you're in the market and you have a budget, you could just go with the SLX and buy a better rod. Or you can go with the DC and you'll have a good time either way. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which one you buy. It just depends on what your budget is and what you're trying to do. Regardless of what you're trying to do though, just keep on fishing, keep on having fun, keep on gaining XP. Over and out, Prongs Outdoors.